So now we're going to move a little bit and just talk more on the marketer side. And I want to introduce this next person who is a wonderful person. I've known her for many, many decades now. We work together again at Phillips. You'll find Phillips, there's a lot of Phillips alumni among us. And then we started in this industry 30 plus years ago, and we've had the opportunity to watch the health market grow. Well, this person in particular has brought a lot to the market, and she's worked on the kind of behind the scenes, but she is an excellent marketer. She's an excellent copy chief, and I want you all to I told her I need you to get your face out here so people can know who you are. So please let me introduce you to Cindy Butehorn.
Thank you, Carline. So when the schedule for this came out, I sent Carline a message that basically said, do you hate me? I'm on the schedule after Gary Bencivenga. So Gary, I think I'm living maximum 10 already right now, competing with the immortals. So as Carline said, I started at Phillips Publishing with Carline and Kim and Wendy. And because of that, I've known Clayton since I was a babe, 21. I was a journalism major who could not get a job in the middle of a recession. So I took a job in customer service at a publishing company and figured I would just get my foot in the door. And that worked out pretty well. I moved into the editorial team, but truth be told, I had absolutely no idea what this company I worked for actually did. I didn't know what direct response marketing was. I had never heard of copywriting before. So my boss, Richard Stanton-Jones, who is one of the greatest copywriters most people have never heard of, decided that I needed to learn about copy. And his way of doing that was to invite me to sit in on his package development meetings with our writers. And those writers happened to be people like Gary Bencivenga, Gene Schwartz, Jim Punkre, David Deutsch, Parris, Eric Batuel, and so many others, and of course, Clayton. I had no idea at the time that I was getting a world-class education that you could never pay $1 million for, and that so many people would die for. And as you can guess, I caught the bug. I mean, how could you not, hanging around with people like that every day and learning from the masters? From there, I got to get into marketing and copywriting and publishing through Phillips. And when I left to start my company, Net Effect Marketing, Clayton and I kind of lost touch. And for years, we just were not in communication. He had gone into the health division, as you guys have heard, spent a lot of his time there. And I was off building my business. And then we reconnected at an AWAI boot camp. And it was like we hadn't missed all those years. We started talking regularly, sharing ideas. And Clayton's questions when we got on the phone were always the same. What's working? What new stuff are you trying? What are the breakthroughs out there now? And after talking for a while, he decided that we had things that we could do together with the work that he was doing at Weiss Research. So we teamed up, and I had the privilege of working with Clayton almost every day for the next several years. I started my mornings early because, as many people know, Clayton was a 4 a.m.er. So I thought I was an early bird. I would come in at 6:30 and I would have just a boatload of stuff from Clayton waiting for me. And my first phone call most days was picking up the phone to a booming, "Hey, darling," from Clayton. I actually have saved a message on my machine so that I can hear that whenever I want. So we worked on copy, and Clayton would send it to me for crits. That's normally all the email I got from him was, "Here it is for crits." And after years of copy chiefing, I have to tell you, it was still pretty nerve-wracking the first time you send Clayton Makepeace crits on his copy. But he was always open to any idea that he thought could make his copy better. And he was happy to tell you when he thought you were wrong. But he always told you why. Because as you've heard from several people already, Clayton was always teaching. But Clayton wasn't just a great copywriter, he was a great marketer. And we spent a lot of our time building campaigns, cooking up new offer tests. And like Gary said, because Clayton really, really believed that products are what drove great copy, we spent a lot of time about product positioning and product development. He made me a better writer and he made me a better copy chief taught me countless lessons about getting into your audience's skin, about crafting, immersing, exciting campaigns. And you have already heard some of those lessons. You'll hear a lot more. But I want to share something a little different about what Clayton taught me. And it comes from the day that he told me, shocked me really, by telling me that he was going to make a change and start working with a new publisher. Clayton had the gig that most people dream of. Pretty free reign on his copy, wrote what he wanted to, didn't write what he didn't want to. He was delivering huge winners, big royalties, the works. So from most people's perspective, he had it made. But in a very Tom Brady-like move, the guy who had it all decided that he was going to go someplace new. He had already racked up all the trophies, the big contract, an idol to so many people, and he'd proven himself over and over and over again. But he decided to walk away. And he left his comfort zone to do something that was risky and something that honestly was harder, by starting someplace new, someplace where he knew he wasn't going to instantly walk in and be the top dog. He was putting himself purposely in a position to be surrounded by people that he thought had something to teach him and people who might be better at certain things than him. And it's because he truly loved copywriting. He was jazzed about what was happening in the industry. And just like the questions he used to ask me all the time, what's new? What breakthroughs have you had? He wanted to surround himself by people who he thought could teach him something and keep pushing himself and keep learning and keep breaking new ground. When you were in a group with Clayton, like you've heard lots of stories already, he was almost always the person in that group with the most winners and the most controls and the most experience. But he was also usually the one asking you about what you were working on and what you had to share with him. His move to the new environment was not a piece of cake. I don't think he thought it would be, but it was hard, even for someone like Clayton at times. So the lesson that I want to share with you today from Clayton is that whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for 30 years, like some of us have, I hope that Clayton reminds you that one of the keys to greatness is to continually push yourself, to be a constant student, and to get outside your comfort zone and take that leap, not just in your copy, but in your career. Clayton and I talked about turning the tables after he left Weiss and me writing a package with him as my copy chief. And we never got to do that, partially because time, we were busy, but partially, to be honest, because I didn't take that leap. And I regret that. Doesn't mean that Clayton's not still with me though, giving me crits. I hear him in my head all the time, whether I'm writing copy or copy chiefing someone else's. I'll miss his bear hug, but I'm so thankful I had so many years of working so closely with him, and even more thankful for all the years he was my friend. Wendy, I love you. Carline, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Cindy. Cindy, you just made a point that I think we got to really remind people. We talked about what Pauline was saying about for the newbies. You brought an excellent point for us experienced writers, you know, and that is making that Tom Brady move. I love that. I love it, you know, because yep, you can get complacent. You can go, you know, I'm making decent money. I'm happy, you know, no problem, but you're not growing. And you know what? It's not just always about the money. It's about the whole process, the journey, the growth. And you're right. When Clayton made that move, he called me to tell me what he was doing. And I was like, holy moly, are you serious? You know, like what? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go for it. These guys, they're young guys. I'm going to learn from them. I'm going to do stuff. I'm like, oh, you're going to learn from them. I see. Okay. You know, they're not going to learn from you. Right. So, but that was like a bold move. And I thank you. I've got a note for that to ask myself, what is my Tom Brady move? So I'm going to challenge everyone else to think the same thing. You know, don't get complacent in where you are now. What is your Tom Brady move that you can do to shake things up and keep the blood going with you too, and keep you young in your copy? So thank you. Cindy and I share so much. We have stories that go back to potty training. My children, she got to listen to all those stories as we worked together back in Phillips. So thank you so much for coming. I told you you're going to be amazing and you're going to bring extreme value to everyone. So once again, everybody, Cindy Butehorn, thank you very much.